Today we are going to discuss blocking. I have just finished the knitting portion of the X's and O's headband. And anytime you're going to block something, you will block it before you assemble it. In this case, I haven't seamed it yet or put in the elastic, and like for sweaters, you will block each piece individually before you put them together, and so on and so forth. So what do we need to block? Well, first of all, this is going to be wet blocking. I am going to use wires. You don't always have to use wet blocking. You do not have to use wires, but that's what this video is all about. So let's talk about that. First of all, you will need, ta-da, blocking wires if you're going to block with wires. They are rust proof. They're slightly bendable, not real much. If you buy a whole set of them, you will get several that are what they consider the rigid, and then you will get a few that are shorter and they're more flexible and they will bend around. So you will need that. You will need something to place it on. This is a floor mat. It has not been on the floor, don't worry. I bought this set of floor mats at Harbor Freight. Of all places, you actually would be surprised how much stuff you can find at a hardware or auto shop that can be used in loom knitting. And they are 25-inch squares. There was several. I cannot remember exactly how many was in the package, but it was on sale for like $10. So watch out for things like that. Also, these, because see, they're interlocking. You can see from the sides here that they have the interlocking, where's that side is, you know, in the back. You can take off that edge. They're all interlocking. And then, you can also use the play mats that's got, like children have, they're smaller, you know, with the little letters and numbers and stuff, that like puzzles that the kids can use, but they're still that same foam mat stuff. If you do want ones that have grid lines on them, those are available. Of course, these have a pattern on them as well that can easily be used to line up stuff. But you can buy the ones that are specifically for knitting, but there's not much difference between, the only difference is the price, and they have lines on them. Okay, so, but I'm frugal, so I try to, yeah, there's some things I invest in, like, say, proper blocking wires. I'm sure there are substitutes for that, and I will look into it and find out for you. But for today, we are going to use these blocking wires, blocking mat pins. You will need for wet blocking and steam blocking, of course, I guess that's the only kind of blocking there is, you will need rust-proof pins. Make sure they're rust-proof, because even though you think, oh my goodness, it's not going to be in the water that long, oh no. No, by the time that sucker dries, you are going to need, yeah, there's a lot of people that have lost their work because of rust stains. So these are just quilting pins, but they are rust-proof. I like these because they've got little colored balls on the end. That makes it easier to see whenever I am taking it apart. The pins that came with my blocking wires, whenever I bought my blocking wires, are T-pins. Those are easier to grab, you know, and pull in and out as well. But they're harder to see. Just take my word for it. Been there, done that. They also make little rust-proof little, they look like U's. They're little U-shaped things, look like staples, but they're longer. So there's a variety of things that you can use, but please make sure they're rust-proof. Okay, step 2. we're going to go soak this, and we're going to get it nice and wet, and then squeeze it out. Now then, I'm not going to actually show you that part, but I'm going to soak it. I'm going to squeeze it in there real good, get it in there, and then I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put it down between a towel. You know, towel on top, towel on bottom. Yes, I will put it on the floor, but it's going to have a towel around it, a clean one, mind you. And then I'm going to stand on it, and I'm going to squish out all of that excess water. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Imagine grapes. So I'm going to go do that, and I will be right back with a nice, wet, but properly squeezed out without twisting. Or, you know, because you don't want to, especially if you're dealing with 100% wool, you do not want to felt it accidentally by wringing it. Okay, meet back up. Now I know it doesn't look real wet, but you will want to soak it for several minutes so that the water really will get into all of those fibers, but it is damp. But not where it will drip out. But, you know, back to the blocking mat, if you do not have that, just put, say, a trash bag out over a bed, pin down the edges, and use it. Because you would want plastic. I do have a blocking board that is fabric. I mean, an official blocking board, and it is fabric, but things dry quicker if they're not on fabric. So, now then, if you were just using pins, you would just spread that out, and you would use a lot of pins very close together, so that it will not scallop on the edges. This is why I like my wires. So in order to use your wires, you will just need to just kind of run the end of your wire. It doesn't have to be precise. Just through the stitches along the edge. Just up and down, in and out, and just keep on going till you get to the end. Okay, now I am at the end. I will smooth all this out because it will gather. If you have a piece that is longer than your wire, you will have to use more than one wire. Now then, see, we got all that done. Let's do the other side with the second wire. You will need to put the pin on the inside of the wire. And you will just stab that on in there. Now, this is where you will need your, if you've got grid lines, then that will help. But you will need to make sure that your width is the same. On this end as it is on the other end and in the middle. To the middle here. Go ahead and put one there and one on down here, and then one down here at the end. Down at the end right there. We are going to also, it makes a great pin cushion. Okay. We're going to make sure our wire is the same on both sides. and then stick our pin in. Now then you can go ahead and go down to the end and make sure that one is done, and then do the other one in the middle. All right, now then, it is ready to dry. And since my ends down here are not, because I will be seaming those together. Otherwise, I would be putting pins in them as well, but I'll be seaming each side together. So I'm just, and no wider than it is at this point. I'm not going to do anything with those. Otherwise, you would either use other wires, more pins. In this amount of space, I would probably do at least 3 pins. So like I said, you would use some more pins if you are not using wires. So there we go. Now we let it dry. And that's all there is to wet blocking with wires. Whenever it dries, I'll unpin it. I'll take the wires out, and then we'll see how it looks. As you can see, it is now dry, so all we have to do is take out all the pins. Pins on this side too. Take out our wires. They just pull straight out. And there it is. Now I'm ready to finish the project I'm working on. And that's all there is to wet blocking with wires. See you later.